Hello, everybody. I am Sun Psychic Jean, and do I have a surprise for you? I want you to meet a very good, an amazing individual that I have met at one of our psychic fairs, and her name is Kelly Nayland. And Kelly is the visionary force behind Lasting Light Wellness, and she works out of Columbia, Maryland. Since 2002, that's quite some time, almost 25 years, Kelly has been a beacon of transformation and healing, guiding countless individuals on their journeys to wellness and self discovery. She is a shaman in the Peruvian tradition, and Kelly brings ancient wisdom into modern healing practices. Her expertise spans a wide array of disciplines, making her a versatile and dynamic healer. Kelly is a traditional hypnotist with specialized skills in addressing trauma, motivation, phobias, addictions, and complex emotions. I mean, just amazing, beautiful. She's also a past life regressionist, offering profound insights into the soul's journey. And you know, that's one of my favorite subjects. As a Reiki master, Kelly, in as a Reiki master in 8 distinct traditions, Kelly channels universal energy to promote balance and harmony. Her talents don't stop there. Kelly is a certified reflexologist, aromatherapist, crystal healer, sound healer, mindfulness practitioner, and yoga teacher. Uh, Sign me up, right? That's something I could use from each one of those. Her holistic approach is further enriched by her training in the Modern Mystery School, energetic well-being process, bioridian healing, access consciousness bars, chakra intuitive mastery, and vibrational medicine. We all know about frequency and vibration here, right? At Lasting Light Wellness, which is the name of her business, Kelly combines a cutting edge technique in energy work, hypnosis, EFT, and vibrational medicine to help clients overcome trauma and break free from recurring patterns. When visiting her website and her healing center, Lasting Light Wellness, whether in person or virtually, you'll find sessions, courses, crystals, essential oils, and wellness products. I have Kelly's links below, and I also have 2 links to some classes that she's going to be talking about and inviting us all to later on in this talk. So, without further ado, let's bring Kelly on.
Hi, thanks so much, Jean, for having me on. I really appreciate it, and I'm happy to speak to all of your viewers.
Oh, thanks for being here, Kelly. So nice to have you. And I just want to say hello to Jen B is here. Nice to see you. Carolyn Loving Light is here. Mary and Akila B. Hi, Akila B. So nice to see you. I was thinking of you, Akila. And what I wanted to start with is before we ask Kelly to tell us a little bit about herself, I wanted to share with you when Kelly and I met. It was at a psychic fair recently that we were both attending. And in the beginning of the show, we all gathered together at the front to have a little prayer and a little get together and share energy and, you know, build our energy together. So everybody's walking up and you're holding hands with each other and you're reaching back, and then somebody else comes in and you're reaching back and you're holding hands with each other. And I'm sitting there, and they all said close your eyes, so I'm closing my eyes and I'm holding on to Kelly's hand. I didn't know she just was coming up from behind me. We had never met before, and my hand, I could feel the energy, the healing energy coming through her hand. I was trying to focus, and it's a little 3-minute focus in the beginning. And when we were done, I turned and looked at her. I said, "Are you a healer?" because I could feel it. I could feel her hands. She said, "Oh, I didn't know they were on." She didn't know they were turned on. It was a beautiful. And I said, "Well, I have got to have you on my show." So, and here she is. Here she is. And Kelly's healing center is called Lasting Light Wellness. And like I said in the introduction, she does things online and in person. So, Kelly, tell us a little bit about how you got started. What
Mhm.
what drew you to become a healer and go through and find all of these modalities?
Mhm. Well, first I started in yoga, and funnily enough, one of our final retreats to become a yoga teacher was held at a religious retreat center in Chicago, of all places. And there was a little plaque, a nun was offering Reiki. I didn't even know what Reiki was. It was like 30 years ago. And I was like, what is that? And my friend's like, it's an energy thing. You'll like it. Try it. So I tried it and I was like, there's something to this. I felt something. This is interesting. So when I got home, I took my very first Reiki class when I found one. And when I sat there, I was doing my typical type A thing. I'm taking my notes and everything. And then I heard this voice and it said, the whole reason you did yoga was to get you here. And I felt this whoa, whoa, boom kind of energy go down. And I remember turning around because at this point in my life, I wasn't really hearing voices and things like that. And everybody else is just going ahead and scrolling away and taking notes, and nobody's looking anywhere else. And I just kind of sat back and was like, oh, and like I knew my life was going to change. And then I quit my corner office job and started doing that. And like a lot of people, what brought me into the healing was to find healing for myself. That I had conditions, that I had done all the things you're supposed to do, go to the top doctor, I bought the dummies book for the condition, I did all those things, and they just weren't able to help me. So I thought, well, I'm not going to roll over and play dead. I'm not, I'm not looking for that in my life. So that's what just got me on this whole path to healing. And then I learned several different types of Reiki, and then that led me into learning about shamanism. So first I studied with the Cherokee in the US, and then my Cherokee master died, and my friend was like, hey, there's some Peruvians coming into town. I really think you'd like it. So I started talking with them about how they do shamanism, and I've since been to Peru many times since then. But that's what kind of got me on that whole path there as far as healing. And so I added other modalities as I went along. I added aromatherapy when I was looking for more natural products and things like that, because as we all know, it's not better living through chemicals. So I was looking for healthier alternatives with that. And, like I said, I added different energy healing modalities. And then I got really curious. Some of you, maybe you can, have had similar experiences, but many years ago, because this child is now an adult and grown, one of my children, starting at the age of 18 months, started telling past life stories just spontaneously. And I was like, what is going on? Because I wasn't even sure that was part of my belief set back then. So I got really curious about that. And so I eventually became a past life regressionist because I was just so fascinated with my own personal experience. Because I knew, especially, and he was so young then too, that he didn't get this from anywhere outside. I had very controlled media and everything else. And also a child of that young wouldn't know anything about what happens to the body when you die. He was just speaking about all these things, and then I was with God, and then this, and then that. It just wasn't something a child of that age could have possibly made up or anything. So I think when it happens, when you hear somebody else tell that story, you're like, well, it could have been this and it could have been that. But when it happens to you and you're the mom and for sure that this is actually happening and this didn't come from anywhere else. So after I had been doing past life regressions for a long time, I started having clients ask me, well, can you hypnotize me and do other things? And I was like, I think so, but let me look into this. So then I went off and I did several trainings and started concentrating a lot on trauma and addictions and things like that. getting into hypnosis, and I trained with some of the best hypnotists in the world. So that's really been interesting. And I think, similar to you, that we pull in all of our good qualities and our abilities when we do things. So even when I'm working with people, say traditionally in the hypnotic realm, I find that my intuitive gifts serve me really strongly, because a lot of times I'll just know, like, ask this question, go here, like you're at the crux of it, kind of like, now's the time, dig in here, and this is where you can help the person break open and have a healing and have whatever they need happen. So I found that to be kind of interesting. So people work with me depending upon their background and what they're comfortable with, either in a more esoteric sense or in a more traditional sense.
So, if I could ask you just a couple of questions there for your
Mm-hmm.
past life regression, do you offer that online or only in person?
Both.
Okay, great. Excellent.
Mm-hmm.
That's really good to know. And when you were doing your or shamanic training, did you find that you were remembering? Did you find that it all like said, like you sort of like realized that, oh yeah, that's what it is? Like, was there, or was it something new? How did you feel when you were studying that information?
Well, I'd say when I first started, it just felt right and it felt very natural. And I felt like I've probably done this before. And then I would say, I guess I'll just jump into the story now. When I was in Peru in 22, I had several, it was kind of a traumatic trip. It ended in me having a near death experience on the top of Mount Asangate, where my heart just stopped. And I came to know through that experience that I was sort of, I mean, we literally got caught in a fire. All my equipment failed one night in the freezing temperatures and 28 degrees. So there were several things that happened to me. Like I had like almost like 3 mini deaths along the way before I had the near death experience. And that experience showed me that I was reliving the process of what I went through as an Incan priestess, like the
Oh.
ritual rites, that I was like reliving that in a different way. So, and it was kind of apropos because we weren't even supposed to, I think, be there that day, but because of the fire, we fled to the snow-capped mountain to get away from the fire. So we were up there, and that mountain is known as the Healing Mountain. So I'm on the Healing Mountain. I'm in my tent. I had asked for help, and somebody forgot about me. And it was just meant to be. It's just all part of the play we were all in. And I remember just hearing like my heart stop, because we're in the middle of nowhere on a mountain. And this tip of the mountain's up there. It's not even viewable a lot of times because you're at 14 to 16,000 feet is the apex of it. But that mountain's known as the Healing Mountain. So I remember just screaming out, "Save me," when it happened. So I didn't feel like, after I felt my heart stop, I was just taken out. So I didn't feel anything
Mm-hmm.
physically that was going on with me that you would expect to be. I wasn't feeling chest tightness or choking or anything like that, because I'd already left my body
Mm-hmm.
during that. So it was a very interesting experience, shall we say.
And and how long do you think that you were in that not alive stage?
It's kind of hard to say, but I know that after a period of time, I came to a brief moment of consciousness where I heard a voice to give me instructions about to do a few things to, I guess, realive myself, so to speak. I don't even remember doing them, but I could tell after the fact that I did. And that was then 45 minutes later
Oh my
that
gosh.
I looked at, that I came back to full consciousness. But I'm not sure. I don't think I would still be alive here. Obviously, I don't think I was dead that whole period of time. But you just don't have any concept of time when you're
Mm-hmm.
out of your body. So I don't. And we were, like I said, on a mountaintop. So I did have a watch, but that was about it.
Mm-hmm. And so do you feel as though our challenges are, the 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 going through these challenges, the most difficult times in our life, that these are here to help us to grow and expand. Do you feel as though that you're meant to go through such adversity and challenges on that trip so that you would have a new understanding? Like, I almost feel like you went up the mountain one person and you came back down another person, because you now
Mm-hmm.
had that awareness, that reality, that certainty of being on the other side and being here, and you carry both of that with you here when you walk down. I mean, I'm not saying that there was some, well, I don't know. I think there was a divine intervention, and I feel as though that this was meant to occur, and that it was only to enhance and to open you up enough so that you could be the healer that you are today.
Mm-hmm. It was funny too, because I had such psychic premonitions of dread of going on this trip, and I remember asking several of my psychic friends, I'm like, "Are you sure it's going to be okay? Are you sure it's going to be okay?" Because I've gone to Peru many times, so I know what it's like to travel in South America. I'm fine with that. I couldn't even pack. I mean, I had to ask my husband to help me pack. I couldn't even pack, and I've never done that ever in the 30 years I've known him. So it was like I had this sense of like dread going to this, where I was like, this is strange. Like I was like really excited to go with this group and do this work. And when I went through this, I do feel like it was slated, especially given the information I got, that this was just a reliving and a opening up of knowledge for me back to the knowledge that I had when I was an Incan priestess. So I do feel like, if you want to say it's destined or whatever terminology you'd like to use, I do feel like I was meant to go through this. And what happened to me afterwards, and I definitely do agree, a different person coming down. It was so funny too. I will interject and say, people were like, after we left the mountain, we went back to Cusco, and a lot of us decided to stay on and do some touristing and go to sacred sites and things around there. And people were like, "I saw your pictures on Facebook and you were smiling." I was like, I was smiling because I wasn't dead, and I was happy about that. So it does give you like a completely different perspective on things. And what I found though is, after I got back and I started integrating this process, is that I got connected with, I'm going to go back to another story. So excuse me, kind of jumping around, but many decades ago, I was introduced to three guides at the foot of my bed, after probably for 9 months or longer doing a meditation of, I want to meet my spirit guides. I want to meet my spirit guides. And then nothing happened for 9 months. So you guys out there that are, working on that, the time, they'll come when the time is right. If you haven't met them yet, you just may have to have some patience. Because when they showed up, I said, "What are you doing here?" And they said, "You asked for us." And I was like, "I asked you like 9 months ago." But you showed up, and there were three of them, and two talked and one didn't. And one was in a cloak. It just had like a cloak over them, just couldn't make out any details or anything. And I was like, "What's with that one?" And they're like, "You're not ready for that one yet, but when you do, it'll knock your socks off." So after the past life experience, I was doing a shamanic journey, and that energy came to me, and I realized who it was, that it was that guide. And there was just this huge connection, because when that guide was incarnate at one point, and they had written a book, and the book got somehow delivered to my house. I don't know how,
Uh-huh.
but I had started reading some of it, and it was an esoteric type of book. And I remember, while doing the journey, going, "I know who this is. I know you're the guide. I know you're the person who wrote this book." I didn't even know if this person was dead or alive. I was trying to like figure this all out during the experience. But they introduced me to a very ancient healing portal. And then since 22, I've been working with that. And then this past year, they put me in charge of it. So I've been doing very deep exploration about what can be done in this energy. And I'm able to bring that portal energy, to people in my office, with people on Zoom, I don't physically have to be with it to work with it, but it's been this gradual unfolding of knowledge that's come through that. So I definitely, that's a very long answer to your question, but I do feel like I had to go through this for a reason, to start unlocking this knowledge that was within me, that I'd been connected to at one point, and that is the work in which I should be doing going forward.
Wow. So I love when you say you were led here, you were led there, and that one, it's not like you're like you just decide, oh, I want to be this now. It's that it one brings you to the next, that we're being guided, that we're opening up in either the order that is intended for us, or just um, what is most suitable for our own, awakening. And um, when you when you go from um, well, how do you handle being a mother, being a wife, and in this world? How do you navigate going from, healer, teacher, um, guide for others, and then become? How do you navigate both sides of the world?
I guess as best as anyone can. But I would always joke with, especially when I was teaching yoga, like my yoga students, I'm like, when my children were young, I'm like, you'll see me at Target with somebody throwing down, having a tantrum. Like, I'm a regular person, because I feel like people do want to put you on a pedestal, but I feel like all of us are here on our own personal journeys. We're all here to learn new things, to get through hard things, to move, to move forward. And, when it comes down to it, I'm the same as you and me and everyone else. I've just been blessed with certain gifts, and I'm on this healing path per se. But I still have the same exact challenges as a mom and a wife as everyone else does. Just trying to keep the house clean and food on the table, and keep your kids going in the right direction. So I don't, I think I'm navigating that as like everyone else. I don't know if my psychic powers are, I mean, I can tell when things are off with my children, but I don't know if that necessarily helps you, you
Mhm.
know, in some other areas.
It's my attempt every day to walk my talk and walk in harmony with my heart and soul of the connections that I make when I do have spiritual connections, and my meditations and my experiences and my knowing. And some aspects, it's you can't not carry that with you. And it's important that we understand that it's just part of our energy. Or I don't know if you get into the DNA upgrades or whatever, but
Hmm.
and that's a language, that's a description, and it is a philosophy. I'm not very well versed in that, but I do feel that when I have an experience, that I've changed, that I'm no longer the same person as I was 5 minutes ago before I went through that experience. And when I'm out in the world and I'm, at a local store, that I carry that vibration with me, whether, even if it's not consciously, it's an
Hmm.
energetic field that's around me. Now, it's important to, like you said, we're ordinary people. You know, people cut us off in the traffic all the time, especially where we live. But it's important to know that we carry that within us. And I think that each one of you, all of you who are here watching and listening to us, you too, when you raise your vibration, when you open up your awareness to the possibilities of what could be. I mean, Kelly is an amazing example of all of the different opportunities for us to get healing, for us to open up, for us to release some of those mm, stubborn energies that we, or thought processes, or thought forms that we just can't let go of, or traumas that we need help to release and to heal. It's all out there for us, and I think that we're all here striving to open up, to release, to let go. And I was telling Kelly earlier that it was through my shamanic energy healing process for 3 years that I went through my own healing, let go of my own baggage, and changed my perspective from, oh, that person's doing that to me, to I see that they are on their journey and I am on mine, that I have control over how I feel about that. I don't have to take energy from somebody and make them and feel bad about myself. I can see them for who they are and still be whole. Like it's an empowering kind of a information. But this is the healing process, and all of the studies that you've gone through is each one is different, and as different and unique as each one of us. And I think that that also is quite unique what you offer, Kelly, that anybody, or that has an issue, and it's personal and different to each person, that you would have what it takes to to get them to the place where they need to be. um, I'm not sure of the terminology with that, but that's what
Mm-hmm.
I felt guided to say. um, and Kelly, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you offer on your website? What are some of the sessions and opportunities that you offer?
So I offer energy healing, and that kind of encompasses all the different types of energy healing that I do, because I find that it can be kind of overwhelming, especially for somebody who's maybe not well versed in, you know, trying to pick one of the many types of Reiki that I do, or one of the things. And I find that also a lot of people want it kind of a combination. They're kind of like, okay. So typically what I have people do is sign up if they're interested in energy work with me for an energy healing session, and then they tell me what's going on with them, and then I just choose from my tool bag of tools. And so a lot of times when I work with people, it could be a combination of intuitive work with them, it could be a little bit of mediumship work, I might do sound healing with them, Reiki, I may do a shamanic ceremony, I may do chakra balancing with them. So it just kind of depends on what is going on with them today and what they need healing from most. But typically, I'll use many of the different modalities that I do during one session. It isn't, I mean, unless someone just wants to request just straight Asui Reiki, say, or something like that, I'll do a combination of those. We also offer reflexology, and you can incorporate aromatherapy into that as well. And then on the hypnosis side, we tend to do both traditional hypnosis. So we do long series for emotional release and trauma work, or people trying to quit smoking and things like that, or weight loss, different areas, or overcome phobias. And then we also do past life regressions, which is very exciting as well. I remember one time, I think the funniest thing I had happen once during a past life regression, or actually two different ones. One was, I remember this woman, and she did not have an advanced education or a background in this whatsoever, started speaking an Asian language when I started
Oh,
asking her the questions, and was just spouting off. And I kept on having to say, can you tell me in English? Can you tell me, tell me in English? Because I'm trying to guide her through the experience. And she even said, she's like, I knew what I was saying, but I don't know those words. I've never learned an Asian language. She goes, I don't know any foreign language, let alone an
oh
Asian
my gosh.
foreign language. So it was really interesting. And then I remember I had someone else who recalled a lifetime not on this planet. So that was also very interesting as well. So I find that the past life work kind of really fascinating. But I have people I work with, and I give them a list of questions to work through to give me, that I'll edit and what have you before we get started, because I don't like past life regressions just to be a party trick. I mean, it's really interesting to know maybe you were a healer or a cook or an artist or something like that, but I'd really like people to get actionable items that are going to help them in their healing, or help them in their understanding of, like, why do I have a challenging relationship with this person, or why am I always drawn to this profession, or why, I want them to be able to get something out of the experience, rather than it just be kind of like, well, that was interesting kind of thing. So that's how I work with the past life regressions. And then we also teach classes. So we do in person as well as virtual classes. Right now, I am in the process of rolling out our whole online academy. So we have launched with level 1 of shamanic Andean training, which I'm very excited about. It's one of our keystone classes that will have 2 additional levels for people who want to go on higher very shortly. I'm in the middle of recording the level 2 and 3, and we have Reiki Sui 1 up there, but we're going to be adding many classes, a bunch of which you can see on the website and put your information down for when it launches. So I'm really excited. We're working on Egyptian Reiki and a bunch of other different kinds as well. So that's what I'll probably for the next year I'm going to be recording a heck of a lot of things. So typically people work with us either in person in our office, or we offer everything with the exception of reflexology because we can't do that on Zoom. On Zoom, on Zoom, that one's a little challenging. On Zoom as well.
Mm-hmm. And Akila says, "This is exciting." Yep, Akila, I knew you would like it. So let me just share a little bit, if you don't mind, Kelly. This is Kelly's website here, and you can find all of her different offerings explained here. And I'm just going to jump right over to the classes and events page.
And if you go under our online academy, it'll show the new classes too.
I'll go under online. Yeah, there it
So you
is.
can see the first 2 are the Shamanism 101 and the Sui Reiki 1 are both live, and then the other ones are coming soon.
I see. Wow. 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 I know I will be one of the class members for sure. Wow. Look at that. I know, you guys, it really is real. And you know what? What I want to maybe offer everybody is they hear me say this, they hear me talk about this, and they know that energy healing and crystals and past life regression and getting a reading sometimes is healing. And, it's about raising your frequency and vibration, opening up your awareness, connecting yourself to your own spiritual or your soul's vibration, your soul's connection right through here to the spiritual realm, to the aspect of you that's here, to the aspect of you that's there, and to enhance and to grow as a human on this earth with the knowledge and the connectivity or the uh, awareness of the spiritual realm. They want us to bring they call it heaven on earth, but they want us to bring those aspects and walk in harmony here, not just all ego, not just all, get the car, get the house, have the 2.5 kids, and retire. That was what was told to us. That's like a it's conditioning. It's what one person wanted, and they thought everybody wanted it. But it's important for us to be an individual, and the currency is energy. The currency is love and compassion. It's humanity. It's connection, and it's about evolving our soul while living this human experience. And for us, we all know that you're all here. We all know that you all are aware and that you're thirsty for more information, for more. Oh, I didn't know I could do that. Oh, I didn't know that was available for healing. I really have something stuck, a trauma in my past that I just let it go. But it's important to bring it up, let it out, so that you can live authentically you without all of these conditions or traumas or, limited thinking holding you back. It's about releasing your soul's expression and being your authentic self. And and I know that all of you here, you wouldn't be here if you weren't on your spiritual journey here. And I just think it's really important to learn, to meet, to understand different ways that we can reach that aspect of ourselves. And it's not just about, you know, being able to connect to your spirit guides. That's important. And but it's more about living in that vibration and holding that awareness throughout your, everyday life. Um,
Mhm.
in the best case scenario. not not always
Exactly.
possible, but it's so beautiful that I loved your website, your offerings, and the combination that you have, and it really does bring us back to who we naturally are, about connecting to one another, about you know not focusing on the materialistic things, but on the energetic and the things that connect us, the things that unify us. Um, it's just really very beautiful, Kelly, and I love that you told us all about that. Does anybody have any questions about what shamanism is, what Reiki is, what crystal healing is? Does anybody have any questions about how Kelly got to where she is or what she does? Not necessarily personal questions at all, just about any of the topics that she teaches. I know you're gonna see me, Kelly, because it's amazing. And where this is in Columbia, Maryland,
Correct.
and it's not too far from where I live too.
Oh, excellent.
And um, do you have other people working with you?
I share an office with some acupuncturists, but no, it's just myself
Okay.
in my business. But I forgot to, while we wait to see if anybody has any questions they want to ask me, I forgot to also let people know that I've also been working with a new vibrational tool that I'm really excited about for people who like something, I guess, a little bit more concrete. I now have a tool that, rather, of course, I work all the chakras and can see them and different things like that. But I have a vibrational medicine application where I can actually use someone's voice imprint and I can go through and it'll give me a printout of their aura, the chakras, down to the meridian points, down to I can go into sensitivities, I can go into chemical sensitivities, I can go into so many different layers with it. And I can have it generate a tone to work on healing like the highest and the lowest points on them. So that's also been something exciting in vibrational medicine for people who would like something a little bit more concrete or numbers, because I've done it like before I've worked on somebody and then after, so you can actually see the shift that they're experiencing, as well as I'm certainly hoping they feel it as well, which they tell me they do. But
That's fascinating. That's fascinating. I don't recall ever learning about that before. That's amazing. Um, and the everything is energy, and we all know this here. No, it on my show, a lot of times we focus on spirit guides, angels, connection to the spiritual realm, learning to listen for our own guidance, and psychic and mediumship a lot, and that type of a spiritual realm, and a little bit in the healing. We dabble a little bit, but it's a way for us to, if you have been searching to connect to your spirit guides, or listen for guidance and feel, your angels around you, or it's important that when we go through this type of exploration and perhaps healing and learning about more about ourselves and about the energy that's around us, it allows us when we I know that when I before I learned Reiki, I knew the world one way. After I learned Reiki, I was so in tune with the subtle energies. It taught me what it is, and I'm like, oh, that's what it's called. Like we've always had it, we've always felt it, but we didn't have a name for it, and we just sort of like didn't pay attention to it. So it's about learning with what we already have. It's not that you don't have it; it's that it's not. A focus for you to develop and to um, expand, and it also
mm-hmm.
helps you in many different ways. I know that if you don't mind, Kelly, somebody told me that it brings joy to your life. And don't we all need some of that now? You know,
Yes.
it, it is a knowing, it is a certainty, it is a connection, it is a vibration that you hold that it allows us to to experience that joy. Um, it really it does enhance, and going through some of these modalities or healing processes, it can really turn things around and open up possibilities for you. So I highly encourage anybody who's on their path, and I know a lot of people here have experienced that. So Carolyn has a great question. She says, "What is the best path to open the pineal gland?"
Okay, I'm not a pineal expert, but what I would say in my experience that I've done is one, I've fluoride tends to clog up the pineal gland, so I use fluoridated toothpaste, as well as I have filtered water that I tend to use. It's hard to get away from it altogether because if you've ever used canned goods or eaten out anywhere, you're going to get exposed to some of it. That can help. Then there's also different techniques. There's some are I would say, heart mind resonance you can get into from certain meditations that can bring you into that field where your pineal will open up. There's also things from the yogic path where you would concentrate and do certain types of yogic breathing where you literally then start pumping the energy up and try to get your pineal gland to start to squeeze and open when doing that. That can be practiced. Usually that's done in conjunction with meditation. Other people may have other methodologies that they use, but I also find that, having a very consistent and strong meditation practice definitely helps with that as well.
Hmm. I love that, Carolyn, and with intention, through your meditations. I too find that I don't drink the tap water for many different reasons, and I've also learned about that. And she about the fluoride. And Carolyn says that she just was reading an article about fluoride, and it's funny that you didn't realize that the two went together. But it's not only opening the pineal gland, but it's activating that natural aspect of ourselves that we've always had, that we've sort of not ignored, but just didn't pay attention to, because it's not utilized so much in this 3D world with you know with all the materialistic kind of
Mm-hmm.
demands on us. It's not as, but it is, and in reality it is vital, it is so supportive, it is the gateway, it is, and but we just weren't taught that way. But we're changing now, we're all here now, we're all opening up, we're all learning, and coming back to, and I have to commend you, Kelly, because it is, you seem to be one of the first, or not one of the first, but one of, you had come upon this early in your life, uh, what I would say 25 years ago, that it was not as talked about and not as well known. Some books, a few shows maybe, but for everybody that's just starting on their path now, you have a plethora of information and access to learn and to explore your own journey. Um, yeah. So Carolyn says, I find I have trouble visualizing during a meditation. I believe that's a muscle, and that also um, will improve with practice. What do you say, Kelly?
I agree with that completely. And I also think that different people work different ways, and that there are many different types of meditations. That there are walking meditations, there's labyrinth walking, there's greeting the sun meditations, there's kind of Sufi ecstatic dance meditations, which I've personally had very profound experiences doing. And sometimes even just looking at the candle flame, because it moves some, will keep your attention enough that will help. So I would say open your spectrum and try several different types of meditation, and you might find that one holds your attention a little bit more. So I would maybe think about trying those different ways, but it can be kind of fun. Like I remember once I had, when I was just doing an ecstatic meditative dance, and I had literally not much of a, I just wanted to do it and experience it and see what happened. Like I had a new power animal join me when that happened, and I certainly wasn't even trying. I was just opening up and being in the state and being in the moment. I closed my curtains in my my living room thinking, oh, if my neighbors walk by, they're just going to wonder what is Kelly doing dancing around there. But I had a great time, and it was a beautiful experience. But the more you do it, the easier it'll come. And I know personally, I thought I was going to flunk out of yoga school because I had trouble meditating because I'm such a natural type A person. So just don't give up. Like it's, everybody does it a different way. And you got to remember too that, you know, for most people, quite honestly, unless you're a Himalayan monk, you're really meditating for nanoseconds within, you know, periods of time and minutes. So don't get down when everybody's like, well, I did an hour. It's great that you did a practice for an hour, but to be in that actual state, you were in chunks of it for that. But the chunks grow longer and longer the more you practice it. I also found that trying to be consistent, like if you pick the same time of day every day to meditate, your mind and body will start to go into that phase more easily, and it'll make it easier for yourself. So you might want to try that as well.
Oh, that's a great tip. I love that. And I think that some guided meditations suggest that we visualize, and I know that that's my one of my stronger clairs that I always visualize when I meditate, but you can just listen. You can just follow the words. You can, be in a blue, field and listen to the words and experience the meditation that way. You can just imagine yourself feeling what it might feel like going through some of the suggestions in the meditation. But it's about working with what you have. And when you practice, it does become easier. I do remember I started um, with a shamanic journey in class before I went on to the um, energy healing teaching. And shamanic journey in class, I could hardly hold the image of what they were trying to talk about. It took so much focus. I was like, it was like a little flutter, a little, like I could get like just a glimpse of it. And I could hardly hold my meditation or my focus on what they were talking about. I would like just drift away and go into my own awareness. I wouldn't be able to hold that focus. But that focus, that muscle, that awareness does strengthen over time. And that is where I go when I talk to your loved ones on the other side. It takes a lot of focus, a lot of uh, concentration, so to speak, and listening and watching at the same time. But I would not have I wouldn't have been able to get to that part of my journey if I hadn't uh, went through the shamanic journeying experience and strengthened my muscle that way. So we never know what we're going to learn along the way or how we're going to open up and change along the way to help us to be in service of humanity or to be our most authentic self. Um, so,
Mm-hmm.
Kelly, you
I,
wanted to go
can
ahead.
I just type it? I thought of one other thing. Another one, if you're struggling with visualizations, if you want to try a different type, would be traditional yogic chanting. Like you could chant a mala, and that keeps your mind occupied and may help you strengthen your meditation muscle. And then you could go back to trying the visualizations and see if it comes a little bit easier too.
That's a great suggestion. That's that sound healing with the vibration of the chants. Ooh, mm, I'll
Because
tell
they
you.
should,
So,
I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just going to
ew,
say that just real quick, I always do the traditional meditations in the Sanskrit as they're originally done, just because the place that your tongue hits the roof of your mouth have different energy points and make different energy connections within your body. Some of them connect the microcosmic orbit, the loop of energy in the body. So, I mean, while you can chant to anything you desire, that's why I go the traditional route when I do chanting meditations. Sorry, go ahead, Jean.
No, that's fine. That's fine. It's just so exciting, you guys. And this is just a very brief introduction of what is possible out there for all of us. And Kelly, you had a special going on that you wanted to tell us about?
Yes. So since we just launched the shamanic training, we're offering that for $9.99, which is normally $14.99. So that's up on the website now for anybody that wants to join, and it'll stay that price until I get the other 2 levels done, and then that's going away. So we're excited about that. And we're also offering $99 healing sessions, both in person and online.
Wow, very, very nice. Thank you very much. And you can find all of Kelly's information in the show notes below, along with her website link, the 2 courses, and it'll take you to that online course page, along with her email and phone number if you want to reach out to her and ask her any questions and just connect with her. Um, so what Cindy says, I do who, and while I'm inhaling, I switch my focus to my breath. So between the 2 things, it carries me along. Are you familiar with the who? Am I saying that right?
I am not, but I
Okay.
am familiar with breath work. So definitely breath work, whether you're doing yogic or different shamanic breath work, there's several different kinds. So I'm not familiar with that particular terminology, but the breath definitely carries the energy and carries the flow. And like I had said earlier when we were talking about the pineal, you can have profound changes within both your psyche as well as your body doing different types of breath work. I mean, there's different breath work that you can do that are a cooling breath to bring cooling energy into the body. There's some that you can do to pump up the energy in the body. So there's ones that are calming. So depending upon what type you're doing, it could definitely enhance your meditation practice, or you could use breath work to do other things as well.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so very much, Kelly, for coming and sharing a little bit about what you offer and about yourself here today. Thank you, everybody in the chat, for coming and asking your questions and for all of your support. And I look forward to seeing you all again. I will be back later today. I have Valerie from Illumination Portal coming on at 3 p.m. Eastern. And then at 5 p.m. Eastern, I will be on with Nancy Jean from Nancy Jean's Garden. She's going to be doing a psychic profile with me. So I have a full day today, and I look forward to seeing you all back here again. And thanks again, Kelly. We'll see you soon,
Thank you.
everybody.
Take care.
You're welcome. Bye bye now. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Your support is greatly appreciated. If you enjoy this content, hit like, share, and subscribe. Remember to click the bell to be notified of future videos. Thanks again. Bye.